Yo, what's good? I didn't even know I was live. Y'all see that? I hit the live button, try to go on here. What's good with y'all, man? Welcome to the Bliss Pickup Wednesday edition. I was trying to send out these notifications real quick. Y'all bear with me, man. I done hit the live and forgot to hit the countdown on y'all. So y'all got me. Y'all gonna catch me in the middle of this. Oh, all right. What's good with y'all people? First thing first, I want to say congratulations to the two contestants. Well, the three actually. Shout out to what is his name? Michael K. Shout out to Michael K for being a good sport and donating his winner. Vonjo here early. I see you, Vonjo. But yeah, I want to say congratulations. Triple S, if you get in here, hopefully I'll see you when you get in here. Please answer my DM, bro. I got a question for you for the size of your cap, bro. So make sure you respond to me so I can get that out to you. And Roll Fin, shout out to you, man. I see the 2X. Make sure you let me know. Hey man, DM some pictures or something so they know what time it is. What I want to say, I appreciate all y'all, man, for rocking with the boys once again, getting us to that 500. We currently at 515. Hit that like button while y'all on the way in here. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let y'all pile in for a minute. But while I'm doing that, listen, man, we're gonna talk about some team building. We're gonna talk about coaches. All Bills fans aren't the enemy. That's fact, Michael K. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. You always here. I'm here early. You here. That's a fact, Bajo. But listen, man, we're gonna talk about team building. We're gonna talk about trenches versus skill positions. We're gonna talk about coaches versus players. Also, if y'all checked out the thumbnail, you know what I'm saying? Look, the Boston by the win. They by the win. Trey, you coming in here with them green clovers. Yeah, but if y'all checked out the thumbnail, right? That was the last Dolphin team, the 2000 Dolphin team, to win a playoff game versus our people on our current roster. And there's a reason why I put that thumbnail down there. We're going to compare and contrast to see what is really important to building a winning franchise. I'm gonna say a contender, a team that can contend year in, year out. It's something that I've been noticing. I'm like, man, we got to get into this. Hold on, before I do that, let me get in this chat real quick, man. Jonathan, the first thing you did was drop a question and say, "Hey guys, since we are bringing in press man cornerbacks, I think that was CBS. CBS is the channel over here. Like Marshall and BJ Adams, do y'all think they were trying to transition Ramsey to safety and that's why he wants out? No, absolutely not. I don't think that's what it was. I think he will be open to playing safety because they was attempting his first year. I think under Vic Fangio, they wanted to try to put him in that star role, which is kind of like safety, like middle of like safety and slot cornerback. He basically all over the place. So I don't think that was what I think it was. Jonathan, I think they probably went and asked him to take a pay cut. If I'm gonna be just 100% honest, I think they went and asked him to take a pay cut, and he was like, "Nah, we ain't, we ain't doing that." So to answer your question, say sup party people, Elwood, what's up with you, my boy? Miss Relentless, shout out to you. What's up, fans, fam? Delusion of Patriot fan. I got a message for Tariq. He says hi. We saw that on X. Delusion of Patriot fan. We saw that. G, what's up, man? Miss Relentless, I'm not putting up that comment. Vonjo already. I said what's up to you, and Michael K. Trey, I'm not putting up them green. Yeah, you can keep them guys. And Scott Jackson, let's go. Lou will be here in a minute, man. He hit me up, so he doing some finishing touches around the crib. So y'all lay around for he be here in about 10, 15. Cap for life, what's up with you, man? You ain't I see you in the building. NFL Network, Tom Pelissero, or however you say his name. I don't know how to say his name. Pelissero reports Tyreek Hill's second wrist surgery was part of original plan and his timeline remains unchanged. You know what? Let me talk about that real quick. Vonjo said, "Don't pick a pay cut. Don't believe." Let me talk about that real quick. I was watching people mention that on the timeline, and a lot of people was going crazy. You know how that go, man. They be doing Tyreek be doing things on purpose. At this point, y'all should already understand what type of person he is. Y'all should already understand his tweets are going to go viral. People are going to make a big deal out of every single thing he says. listen, it's content. For people like us, it's content. But what I will say is, I'm glad they cleared that up because it apparently from what people are saying, I think it was Cam Wolf. I think he mentioned that it was just to take the screws out. So it was just to take the screws out. That's part of the surgery that you're going like. That's like if you go get stitches. Well, back in the days when you go when they got stitches before they were dissolved, the one that you could dissolve, you had to go back there and get the stitches taken out. I don't know if y'all know that, or if you're getting braces, you got to go back and get the braces taken out. So I think that was something normal. However, I will say this: he does all this on purpose. He's trolling. He knows they're gonna get the fan base riled up, and everyone, for the most part, falls for the bait every single time. Every single time it's going to be a debate. I saw people saying why he waited this long. You know, I saw people saying, "Oh, I'm tired of you." I saw people saying he throwing the middle finger up to Tua. It was like people going back. Not schools out of here. We talk about Tyreek, Fred. It was going back and forth. I think at this point, you know, whether they get rid of him or not, I don't think he's going nowhere this season. I did see someone with like that. Oh, this confirms that he wants out and they're getting rid of him and things of that nature. No, this is normal. The difference between Tyreek and everyone else is, I ain't gonna say everyone else, but most people on this team, what we used to, he is very active on social media. He's very active on social media, and his engagement is through the roof. It is. The only one on this team that their engagement would be more through the roof than his would be Tua. Can you imagine if Tua would be tweeting like Tyreek is right now? Can you all imagine that? Man, Twitter would be on fire every single time because they're going to hold on every single letter, every single word. It's like, at sometimes for me, I'll be honest, it's fun listening to it. But then at some point, like especially when it's like now when it's time to get, I mean, we're getting closer to the season, the off-season workouts are starting, especially for the rookies, and then you're gonna get into training camp and things of that nature, right? At some point, you just gotta just start getting serious. And the reason why I'm saying this now is because, bro, we not winning enough for you to have these tweets like that and constantly trolling the fans. People like me that's level-headed, I'd be like, all right, man, I'm going to lock in right now. I'm not going to let the tweets get to me. I'm not going to allow him to rile me up or anything of that nature, right? But I see these fans going crazy. To me, that's one of the main reasons why I'm like, I can't wait till he's off this team. I know you have a lot of people that says that, you know, they're Tyreek fans. And I can't wait till Louis get on there because I want to discuss something that they were discussing in Spaces earlier today. But I know you have people that's a lot of Tyreek fans, right? And that they feel like Tyreek made Tua. And they will completely ignore the fact that he had his two best seasons under Tua. I get it. You know, that don't make Tua better than what he is. It doesn't. You understand? Hold on, y'all. You say, I got you with the pick. When I get it, I'll be wearing it. And my profile pic too represent. Shout out. Oh, yeah. Jonathan, shout out, man. Appreciate you, my brother. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah, make sure I you know, I want everyone to know once it touches down, let me know. I don't know if you want me to tell everyone what jersey you pick, but I'll just let them wait till you put it on your profile pic. But yeah, so the thing with Tyreek is I don't think he's going nowhere this year. So I'm in the mindset of nothing that he said is gonna bother me at this point. I will cover it because it's the talk of the town. It's the talk of Spaces. It's the talk of social media. It's the talk on YouTube. Everyone went live to talk about it. Like, nah, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I see a comment that I want to address. I'm going to address it. But yeah, I'm sorry. Tyreek, he can't bother me. I'm not going to spend most of my time talking about that. I will say this. I was watching, Defense Collective. I think that's the name of it, with TD, Omar, Adam Pupar, and Dougie Durone. And Omar said something that was really eye-opening when he mentioned that he could confirm that there is some real and some, I guess, distance between Tua and Tyreek. My man, right on time. He did confirm that there was some friction between Tua and Tyreek, guys. that from, if I'm not mistaken, I don't want to quote him, but if I think his exact words was, they haven't been speaking for months. That's, listen, we understood that. We kind of said that a little bit, but just to get that confirmation, it's kind of along the lines of what another reason why I say I don't want him here. Let him go. Just, bro, I'm so done with all the off the field drama, especially when a losing franchise. It just put the icing on the cake when you add that in with the most if let me see before I say that. Yeah, I could honestly say this is the most disappointing season for me as a Dolphin fan. Even more disappointing than the 1-15 season, because the expectation wasn't as high for those seasons. The expectation this season, 2024, was through the roof. It was through the roof. Tua came off his first season fully healthy. He led the league in passing. Everyone was happy and happy-go-lucky, and they paid him the highest paid contract of any player in the franchise history. So the expectation was through the roof. They were already high, with the 24 and off season, but that just blew it off the roof, right? And to have the season that we had, most disappointing. I'm just gonna be 100 with that. Lewis, what's good with you, Lou?
Tone, what's good, dog?
Chilling. I'm glad you came. I wanted to ask you something. About you know what? First, let me get this in, because you know what, that's gonna follow in one of my questions. I wanted to talk about building a team, right? Building a playoff roster, right? Now, me and you, we're known for players create the culture, right? Players create the culture. So absolutely. I was doing some research with the teams. Well, at first I did only the last team that won a playoff. I didn't even do 2008 when we went to the playoff with Jay Ajayi, right? I did the team that won the playoffs. You know what I went and took a look at, Lou? I went and took a look at the roster. I wanted to take a look at the roster to see what type of players we had, see how explosive this offense was, see how dominant that defense was, right? And if y'all take a look at that thumbnail, I'm quite sure some of y'all had to Google some of them players. I know the guy all the way in the corner, in that right corner, I'm quite sure 90% of the people who saw that had to Google who that was. Y'all know who that was? That was our starting wide receiver. That was our number one wide receiver that year. Oronde Gaskins.
Big old number 86, baby.
OG Oronde Gaskins. Right? And I'm like, no, this the team. Running back, Lamar Smith. I always say Lamar Smith. Running back, Lamar Smith. Quarterback, Jay Fiedler. Leslie Shepard was the other receiver. Rob Conrad, remember I'm a fullback, Louis. I'm a fullback. Rob Conrad was the starting fullback. And I didn't even go to the offensive line. And I was just looking at skill positions, and I'm like, you know what? Let's see what this team was made of. Now that defense, right? Defense was formidable. That it was Bowens, Starks, Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas, Sam Madison, Patrick Surtain, Brock Marion, Brian Walker. You remember I said, he was one dude that he was unsung hero. Most people don't know him, but he was balling. He had one good year. That was the year Brian Walker was the strong safety on that team. Right? But you know what that team had? That team, what would you call that an explosive team, Lou?
Nah, no, by no stretch of the imagination was that an explosive team. No.
It wasn't explosive by any means. You know what that team was? Tough.
It was grit. It was heart.
Heart and grit. And after I saw that, I said, let me go look at the other team. You know, team that's the common denominator of the teams. That are the Dolphins' most successful teams. Grit, toughness. I'm sorry to tell you, this pretty boy, fast speed football, it happened. It doesn't work like that. You might have, like you had the greatest show on turf, cool. They had 1 year that they went to the Super Bowl. 2 or 3 good years that they was no, it was Brian Walker, not Jeremiah Bell, Mr. Finisher. It was Brian Walker. It was 2 or 3 I'm sorry, St. Louis Rams, 2-3 years good. You know, they had Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk. You know, they had a couple good years. But he got 1 Super Bowl. 1. Them finesse teams, they don't last. Back in the days with Warren Moon and all them, that was a high-flying offense. That was a finesse team. No Super Bowls out of that. They didn't.
You trying to say that Doc Brown is a finesse player?
Hey, I ain't said nothing about that.
Hey, Tone, I just need a little clarification on that, Tone. That's all I'm looking for. You care to elaborate on that?
Shout out to Doc Brown. I ain't there gonna be no Doc Brown slander while I'm up here. You hear me? Shout out to man Doc Brown.
I thought you were saying Doc was soft, man.
Doc was.
Hey. I thought that's what you said. I thought you said Doc was soft. That's crazy.
I ain't even use soft nowhere in there. In fact, Doc was one of the ones that were outnumbered by the softness. He was outnumbered. Then shout out to my boy Doc Brown, man. Y'all know what time it is. But
hey, shout out to Doc, man.
Grit, tough nose football, dominating the line of scrimmage. We dominate the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Defensive line was formidable. Offensive line was formidable. We had a dominant running game. Lamar Smith was our best offensive player. And that playoff victory, he went over 200 yards. Had the walk-off touchdown in overtime against the Colts. I'm like, that I just want people, because when I be trying to figure out, like, you know what made me think about that, Lou? You want to know what made me think about that? I was in a space, right? I was like, yeah, what am I gonna do with the thumbnail? Let me see this. I had a couple of ideas, right? I'm like, what am I gonna do with the thumbnail? I get into a back and forth with my boy Trey. Shout out to Trey. Everybody know Trey, right? He like Boston, so he ain't gonna hold that against him. Cool dude, though, right? And we had a debate over Klay Thompson and James Harden. And I was like, he would swear me up and down. We were saying best all-around player. He said James Harden hands down. I'm like, I'm taking Klay Thompson. And he was throwing oath. He did this. He had this many assists. He had this amount of points. He had all that. And I'm like, you want to know what? You want to know what I noticed about this argument with you and James Harden? You stick to one side of the doggone game. You ain't mentioned a defensive stat yet. Not a defensive attribute. Nothing. Everything your argument was based around was how good offensively he was. And I was saying, you got that. I'll give him the edge because he's not even he's not light years ahead of Klay Thompson when it comes to offense, right? Because I'm like, go look at some of Klay Thompson's best games. They right there with James Harden. And he had Klay Thompson, Steph Curry every year. Still doing his numbers. James Harden was doing that when he was the focal point of the offense, right? But I'm like, what about his defense? And before I even got to the defense, I say, how does that offense look when you need him the most? What is his biggest downfall? He shrinks in game sevens. So not only is all you could give me is offense, that offense don't show up in the playoffs, in the biggest games, in the biggest moments. You don't got that problem with Klay Thompson. Everyone here and coming in, hit the like button. Subscribe and support my brother Louis Alex Tone 8, aka the Blitz Pickup. Let's go. Shout out to y'all for sure. Now I hope I see. I ain't see my boy Triple S, man. If y'all see Triple S, y'all holler at me, man. Triple S, make sure you DM me, man, so we can get you that hat. Check this out, right? So that what made me start thinking about it. I said, you know what I noticed about the people nowadays? I'm like, we're so enamored about offense and putting up points. We forget about the most important thing when it comes to any sport. Toughness. Mental and physical toughness. Championship teams are not made without that. Actually, that is the driving force on majority of all the championship teams, especially the dynasties. Toughness. Both sides of the field or the court. I'm sorry. So when I started thinking about that, I'm like, okay, let me go start looking at my Miami Dolphin teams and see if that lines up with the most successful teams in our history. Yes. Go look at our favorite teams. Even if you're too young to understand with Larry Zonka and Mercury Morris. Bruiser. Right? That team was dominant. Dominant run game. That's the undefeated in the two-time back-to-back NFL champions. They were tough. Don Shula, one of the hardest, tough-nosed coaches in history. This is the type of characteristics you look for in coaches and players that builds champions. I'm not saying look good on the field and beginning of the season you look nice. No, I'm talking about championship caliber players. Go look at all the greatest teams. The Steel Curtain. I see Captain Light say the Steel Curtain. Not the further something. Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Look, all them dynasty teams, the more recently, Patriots. They are tough, hard-nosed teams. And even when they got finesse, guess what beat them? Tough, hard-nosed Giants. It never fails, no matter what year you in, no matter what generation you in, no matter what decade you in, no matter what century you are in. Toughness will always prevail because competition is what sports is built on. You can't be a top competitor and not be tough. You can't. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Y'all got to get this through your head to understand when me and Lewis talk about softness, especially mentally soft, it's not just to call people out. It's understanding what you need to build championship caliber teams. And I thought it was mind blowing when I was going back and forth with Trey. And I'm like, God, no, this seemed to be the lost art. Well, I think we have a disconnect with a lot of these fans when we like that offense is cool. But what about the defense and the toughness? No, that's going to always, you know what? Go back, listen to the greatness, right? I mean, the great ones, all the great ones. If you go back and listen to them, that's going to be a common theme that they always say when they were like, man, when things go get crazy and things like, how do you get through? How do you bring yourself back down to earth and get and just push through it? And how do you endure through all that? You know, they always, one of the main quotes they say, get back to the basics. You're going to always hear a great player. I mean, I went back to the basics, went back to the gym or went back into the locker room and got back to the basics, simplified the game, and then you move forward. It was kind of crazy to me. Like Trey said, nah, it's a misunderstanding. I know defense win championship. I don't want to hear nothing about defense from you, Trey. I don't want to hear nothing. You was on James Harden. You wouldn't let. I'm like, huh? No, man, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Lou. Question, did you want to say anything about the little Tyreek thing? I had mentioned it earlier. I don't know if you want to say anything or cover anything about that, Lou.
No. I was doing a couple things, but I was listening to what you said. I ain't got nothing. Bro, it was basically nothing. Supposedly he was taking screws out of his hand. I mean, cool story, bro. Like, it is what it is. I ain't really got nothing to say upon that tone. No.
Okay, so this is what I wanted you to say. Say I wanted to talk about toughness first, you know what I'm saying, before I skip these coaches versus players, right? But I want your opinion because you were snapping earlier and I would talk to you backstage and I said, I'm glad I was in there when you was going. So I would like for you to just elaborate and get your take on the situation with coaching and the coaching style and the Brian Flores versus the Mike McDaniel argument. I want you to get that part and explain to people what you were saying and how you felt about that, because it's going to lead into my thought process, which is completely different from yours. But I want to point something out to the listeners.
Yeah, so shout out to Mystic. Mystic was hosting a space earlier. I wasn't in there. I didn't get to listen or nothing like that. I was, doing some things. But I went back and I got a little time and I started listening to certain parts. I was going and skipping through it and this and that. And the conversation kind of took off for me when the Brian Flores versus the Mike McDaniel and this all the situation. And it's crazy how people sit up here and lie, bro. I guess that's why they call me a flip-flopper, Tone, because I don't lie. I just go by what, what is dictating. What's in front of me at the moment. That if they're playing well, cool. If they're not, cool. I go with what's in front of me. But how we have revisionist history in this fan base. And the hypocrisy runs wild, because the same people that were in that Twitter space earlier today, Tone, talking about, I'm going to leave the Brian Flores stuff alone. Just the Mike McDaniel, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Mike McDaniel and what he created here in Miami and the culture and to use the word country club. Mike McDaniel created that?
Not to me.
Mike McDaniel created that according to people. But these are the same people that shitted every day on Brian Flores because he had a wall that said takes no talent and he was too mean to players. What did everybody tell us, Tom? Mike McDaniel is the right guy for the job.
That's fine.
He's a player's coach. He's gonna fall in line, and now 3 years later, he's the worst coach in history. He don't know how to call a game. He created this. This is what y'all wanted. 3 years ago, this is what y'all wanted. The argument to me, Tone, was you can't talk to people like that, Lewis. We're in the 2020s now. This ain't the 1980s. You have to be a player's coach. These are the same people now that shit on Mike McDaniel for being a player's coach. Remember before Mike McDaniel ever coached a snap or ever coached a game, Tony, for the Miami Dolphins, what did they tell us? Mike McDaniel is a genius. He's an offensive guru. So 2.5 years later, now Mike McDaniel, he's the worst play caller in the league. Now Mike McDaniel don't know how to call a play. Now, let me ask you a question. See, this is where people like me, I can be honest and objective. I just want to ask everybody a question. Because what I hear is Mike McDaniel can't coach. So when the Dolphins hung up 70, was he a good coach then?
That's what I was hearing.
Hey, Tony, you went to Washington 2 years ago.
Yes,
when
sir.
The Dolphins put up 45 points. Was 45. He a good coach then?
He looked like he was to me.
When Tyreek missed a game and it was just Jalen Waddle out there with Tua and we beat the Jets 30-0, was Mike McDaniel a good coach?
He was the coach behind on the sideline. I know that.
Hey, Tony, let me ask you a question. In Baltimore, when Tua and the offense scored 4 late touchdowns to beat Baltimore, was he a good coach?
He most definitely was the coach calling the plays.
How about the following week at home, week 3, when we beat Buffalo? The only time Tua and the offense and the Dolphins have beat Buffalo. Was he a good coach?
He was on the sideline on that team in that game too.
The crazy part is, Tony, the only time he's not a good coach and the culture does matter is when the players fold. You see what I'm saying? People got to start realizing, bro, we can blame all these other people and stuff. At the end of the day, Tony, it doesn't. It's, again, Andy Reid is great, right? He's great. But if the team loses, does that mean he's not great no more?
No.
Like the Philadelphia Eagles coach, Monday episode, Tone, when we had that debate between Mike McDaniel and stuff, I brought up Nick Sirianni with the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
During the season, in the beginning of the 2024 season, they were talking about that man was on the hot seat. People wanted that man fired. So what people were saying was, Tone, he was a bad head coach. 14 weeks later, he's hoisting up the Lombardi trophy, and all of a sudden, he's a great coach.
Winning cures all, huh?
No, it's that Saquon Barkley. It's that Saquon Barkley was doing his thing.
Winning cures all. They forgot how easy it is we forget.
It's that Jalen Hurts was doing his thing. It's A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith was doing his thing. So guess what? When players do their thing, coaches look great. And when players fold like a drum and that weak mindset starts kicking in, and you have the Tyreek Hills of the world walking off the field, quitting on the team, right? When you have Jalen Phillips questioning his ability, remember the note? Hey, Jalen Phillips responded to me and you, Tone, didn't he not?
That would sound like Lou. I don't want to, and toot our own horn, but it sounded like they were.
they were responding to us, right? Why do you think that is? Because they don't like when they hear the truth. They want the patting on their butts. They want the kissing on the forehead. That's why Javon Holland was so excited when Vic Fangio left. Remember the quote, kick rocks? Did Mike McDaniel create? You think Mike McDaniel created that?
I don't think he had nothing to do with that.
I'll tell you, Tony, I know he didn't. Because before Mike McDaniel got here in the building, Javon Holland was already laying on carpets, petting bald cats, telling the fans how sorry we were because we were too mean and we weren't sticking by their side. Would Mike McDaniel created that? So when Mike McDaniel was coaching in San Francisco, he called Javon Holland and told Javon Holland to be soft. So Mike McDaniel created the culture. So he told Jalen Phillips to go to therapy because supposedly Brian Flores was acting too mean to him.
I don't think so, Luke.
Mike McDaniel, no, Tone. But this is what the people, that's what they tell us. They say Mike McDaniel created that. So let me get this right. During the game in Tennessee, Mike McDaniel from San Francisco called Tennessee, got the phone in the locker room, and told Tua to tell Brian Flores, you can't talk to people like that. Mike McDaniel told him to do that. You see how stupid it sounds? Bro, cultures are set by players. That mindset is set by players. That toughness comes from players. This is all me and Tone have been trying to tell people for the past year and a half. Forget about the general managers and the owners. It's cool. It's a cute story. It's narratives. It's what people call in the business agendas. Y'all have an agenda. The fact of the matter is, my agenda is to come up here and tell you guys the truth. And the truth is, Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Devon Achane, Jalen Phillips, Bradley Chubbs, name them. They're folding. They're all folding in the biggest moments. And I'm sorry, Mike McDaniel did not create that culture because before he got here, Tone, those same players were folding. So it is what it is, man. Luke, that was just my rant. I'm tired of it.
Trey got a question for you. He said, as a supervisor of your job site, don't you create the culture, or do you let walk all over you?
Again, this is where sometimes we got to realize that our normal jobs, right, is not what the NFL does. Ooh. If you think, now again, I just want people to know I'm the boss at my job. If there was a dude, an employee of mine, that was making $30 million, let's say, you think I got more say than that dude at the $30 million? I'm sorry to tell you, Tyreek Hill has more say than Mike McDaniel does. That's the facts. That is the facts. Mike McDaniel makes $3 million a year. Tyreek Hill makes 30. If they was gonna let anybody go, who do you think that is, Tone? I'm not a Tone. I was never a math major, but I know it's easier to get rid of the $3 million dude than the $30 million dude.
Hey, now you making sense. I would like to say this because he also said the workers don't run the culture. You know what I'm saying? They don't create the cultures. That's cool to say and everything like that. But let me remind you, because Lewis made a great point. Regular working in sports are two different things because of the pay difference. The pay scale is way different. That's the only, name another profession where the guys that answer to you get paid more than you. You're not going to find another profession like that. So you can't use that as a reference point. Like you can't. It's two different things. But I will tell you this, since you want to bring that up. we all been in work environments, right? And in every work environment, the people that called the shot, that pay the big bucks, they identify they're A1 workers. They identify the workers that are good. Because one thing you're going to say, supervisors aren't always right, and supervisors aren't always good at their job. They might know somebody that knows somebody, but they're not good at their job. But you know what? And I've had this personally, and I've seen it happen. You know when them supervisors usually get called out or they usually get in trouble? When they start messing with the guy that everyone in that building know he's that guy. And you tell me he did something wrong? Nah, I ain't having that. These are facts. No, I ain't having that. We're going to have a discussion. We're going to have to discuss this. You're going to go in that office and your boss, I've done it plenty of times. People come to me and tell me about somebody that I know is a hard worker, and you having a disagreement, you're going to have to explain to me what he did wrong, because I know he's one of them. I know I could depend on him. I know whenever I tell him to do something, whenever I ask him to do something, it's not only going to get done right then and there, but it's going to get done right. So you can't just walk in my office and tell me that this person did something and I need to get rid of him. I'm going to look at you like crazy, like, what you mean? And guess what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to say, he might not be good for his job because he's a bad evaluator. That's what I'm going to say. He's a bad evaluator. If you have a problem with that guy, I know this guy. I know he works hard. No, you're abusing your power. So you can say that, right? Now let's skip over to the football side or sports side of it when it comes to coaches and players. For the most part, hold on. Let me see something. Tony, was Flo messing with the guy? Crypto! You know what?
No. But again, Tony, I don't know how many times we got to tell the story, bro. So the culture in New England, it was created by, according to y'all, then it was created by Bill Belichick. Is that what y'all think?
No, Bill Belichick said it himself.
No. Well, I know we've told the story before, Tony. I just want, is that what people think? Because I Tony, the other day when
this is cap trade. I hate when people say this. This is lies. I don't know where you live. There are thousands and thousands of jobs where there are supervisors that don't know nothing. Don't know how to run a business, don't know how to lead people, don't know how to do nothing. And those companies are up because they have great workers in place that get it done in spite of. Please stop this, bro. I don't know. Well, you from Virginia. Maybe that's how it is in Virginia. My bad, Lou. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's crazy. But we always go back to the Belichick and New England story. People that think Belichick created the culture, okay, cool. So when Tom Brady left, what happened to the culture?
It went down the drain.
Tony, you brought that point up. Now they had a great front office, great head coach, great everybody said the New England Patriots, that the model of the NFL, right? Okay, cool. One player left, that model went to shit. The owner's still there.
That model switched to Tampa Bay.
Absolutely, but that's what I'm saying, Tom. But the owner is still the same in New England, correct?
Yes.
They had Belichick for 3 years after that, correct?
Yep.
So what happened? See,
pretty much the same front office.
It's easy to say that a coach creates the culture, but when your best player embraces the culture that you're trying to set, everybody will follow, right?
Thank you.
If Belichick, well, let's say Belichick did create the culture. If Tom Brady would have pushed back on that, do you think the culture would have been the same? No. The problem is Tom Brady, when Belichick would go and get after Tom Brady would sit there and take it.
And make him pay for everything he said.
And make him pay for everything he said.
You remember what his name? That just added to your point. Julian Edelman said, they said every time Bill Belichick got into it with Tom Brady, they knew what time was going to be for a month and a half straight. He said there wasn't going to be a drop pass for a month and a half straight because of Tom Brady. They were like, oh, well, we know what we got to do. You don't got on Tom Brady. Y'all about to get your glove, your best glove, because Tom ain't having it. Not Bill Belichick. Tom isn't having it. Go ahead, Lou. My bad.
No, what I'm saying is, Tom, the fact of the matter is, it's always players that are going to. It's. I see people in the chat. It's not that we're letting players run the prison, but the players got to run the locker room. The players got to run the field. There's nothing. Uh, again, the point with Belichick and Brady is the one for me that hits home. We had a guy in Brian Flores that tried to create a culture here, Tom. Our leader, right, the face of the franchise, pushed back against that culture, right? That's why it didn't work. Brady embraced the culture. That's why it worked, right? It's you can't have the coach do everything. The coach is supposed to hold your hand on the field. The coach is supposed to make the right play call. The coach is supposed to catch the passes. The coach is supposed to make the passes. Bro, stop. At some point, it's the players. The players do run. I don't care what no one says, bro. They run what the atmosphere in the building. That's created by the players, man. And if the players ain't falling in line, then nothing's gonna work. Bro, the Pittsburgh Steelers of yesteryears. What do you think they were based on? Toughness. When you think of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you think of toughness. That's what you think of. When you
Pittsburgh,
look at
Baltimore,
bro, Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, Terrell Suggs. Those are culture setters. Jonathan Ogden, culture setter. Guys in the locker room that are going to hold everybody accountable. They don't need no coach. You think a coach had to tell Ed Reed to come to play ball? Is that what you think? Has anyone ever heard Ed Reed speak? now, what's crazy to me, Tone? We needed a coach to come in here and give confidence to Tua. You remember those conversations back in the day, Tone?
I remember. Yeah.
Now let me ask you a question, Tone. How much confidence do you think it took for someone to instill into Ed Reed?
Not for Ed Reed. Already had that confidence.
Let me ask you a question, Tone. One of my favorite players in history, especially Hurricane history as well, is Sean Taylor. Do you think Sean Taylor needed a coach to give him a pat him on the back and kiss him on his forehead before he went out and played football?
Not at all.
Bro, Sean Taylor went to one of the worst organizations in NFL history, the Washington Redskins, and he single-handedly, he was changing the culture over there. Now, if I ask you, Tone, at the time when Sean Taylor played for the Redskins, who was their head coach?
Who was it?
You don't even know. No one knows. Nobody knows. You would have to Google it. You know why? Because the player walked in there and changed the culture. All we're saying is, bro, again, get out your feet. Bro, players run
Say Joe Gibbs.
So Joe Gibbs was the head coach. Okay, cool.
And he was soft.
Trey, thank you for going to Google to find that out. The fact of the matter is, bro, I'll end it with this. We have soft players, right? In our opinion, you believe they're soft? Some of them.
Yeah, mentally for the most.
Right. Yeah. Cool. We have a soft football team. It makes sense, right? If you got soft players, soft mentally weak players, your team, when adversity hits or the game gets tight or it's a tough-minded game, that's when the Dolphins fall. Why do you think that is? You think that was because of the coach?
Nope.
Because if that was the case, why do you think those teams now, again, with the same quarterback, same pass rusher, whatever, right? Why do you think under Brian Flores they folded in some of the biggest games? Why do you think that happened?
Players.
But Brian Flores was the culture setter, Tom.
Yeah, yeah. I'm see. I won't let you finish, and I was gonna go to. So I'm glad you mentioned that part because we have a clear example of how it don't matter what type of coach you got. If the players are the ones that set this culture. But go ahead,
Thank
Lou.
you.
You right on this. You right where I was
No,
gonna go
no,
to
no,
that.
no. You can take off. What I'm saying is that's right there. Brian Flores wasn't soft. Brian Flores was trying to create a culture. But again, when the players said no, again, they didn't like the culture because they're weak minded. They couldn't handle the culture. So that's why the culture didn't work. It wasn't because he was just too mean. It was because those players don't react well to that. Again, it's kiss you on your forehead, pat you on your ass. That's what they want. And if they don't get that, it's a wrap. And I'm sorry, bro. If y'all think that coaches create that, I'm sorry. Y'all are wrong.
Yeah, and you like we have like what do you call it? High definition. This is 4K on this team. Under Brian Flores, they were soft. Under Mike McDaniel, they're soft. You remember the game? Was it Cincinnati? I always get the game. I think the game wrong. They always point this out when he ran on the field after they late hit Jakeem Grant or something like that, right? And he was leading the charge. His player was holding him back. I took issue with that immediately. Immediately. Like, watch the referees, the other coaches, whoever, they got a sideline, them should have been the one putting them back. Y'all should have been right there ready to go to war. Matter of fact, he should have been out there pulling y'all off of the players that did that. And then that was under Brian Flores, right? Show you that's the hardest tough nose you could get. It ain't changed them players. It didn't. It was still the same softness. That's why when they went to Tennessee, they got lit up. And then the year after or before, when they went to Buffalo, they got lit up. When Buffalo needed to play, they started for a half a game. Right? Then you fast forward to Mike McDaniel. Same thing. Roquan Smith, light Liam Eichenberg up. No one helps him. You want to know what else? I don't bring this up because it's a bad memory. Lou, how many people tried to fight that D lineman that slammed two on his head in Cincinnati? National
Nobody.
TV.
Nobody.
National TV. This guy flipped your quarterback, slammed him on his head, had him fencing on national TV, and no one took issue with that. Not a single soul. No one paid that no attention. These are the first things that I'm looking at. I'm like, oh no, we got a soft team. This is what people, it's the little things. You know how to say the it factor? He just got it. She just has it. Can't explain it, but you know it's there. Because you can't coach that. You can't train that. You can't teach that. Hate to tell y'all that. And it's crazy that when you go doing research, I'm going through research, I'm like, God, dog, we had tough-nosed players. Our team was amazing. We loved to go watch the Dolphin football when we had them tough-nosed physical players. It didn't have to be the coach. Now, doing my homework too, research, I started thinking, I'm like, we had Jimmy Johnson. Would you consider Jimmy Johnson soft?
No, sir.
Would you consider Jimmy Johnson a culture setter?
Yes, absolutely.
Why he ain't changed the culture here? I'm just asking for a friend. I'm asking for a friend. We went from Jimmy Johnson. We brought Bill Parcells in, to run the front office. Like, these are proven winners. We even went to Nick Saban. Proven winners. Can't nobody mistake none of them for being soft. But you know what all of them understood? Man, I can't go out there and fight for them. I can't go out there and make them be one of them guys. This is why these guys, we kill these guys. But you know what the guys understand? I can't win on that kind of. I need people that's gonna set the tone. I need people that's gonna set the culture up. You could have that in your mind all you want. But the reason we saying the players are the one to set the culture and set the tone is because they are the ones on the field. Those the ones that create the culture. Wasn't no coach gonna go out there and teach Ray Lewis how to have them crazy speeches that he be having, them highly motivating speeches that he be having. No one. I'm sorry. He was there. And you know what? He's also in the trenches with those players. So when he say it and he back up his word, it means way more than coach telling me that. Listen to the way these players talk when they get out of this the profession, right? Whatever sport it is. And listen to how some of the top, I look at that coach like, hey, coach, man, I got this. Let me do me. You teach the ones that don't know what they're doing. They always will tell you that. Because the dog is built in them. But when the players are acting as dogs and the players are telling you, listen, man, this is how we going to run this. Go listen to some of Ray Lewis' speeches when he said how he got his players to buy in. He'll tell them straight, I don't care what you do. You stay right here. This is your assignment. Make them come to me or I'm going to make them come to you. But trust I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be. And trust me, if you're where you're supposed to be, you're going to make a play and I'm going to make you a better player. A coach could tell you to do that every time, but it has to manifest on the field. This is why when you have a leader out on the field, you hear this all in the media, but y'all ignore it all the time. They were, you know what the difference between this team? They have a general on the field. You know what make this team run? They got a general on the field. Because people that are inside the sport, people that study this and that do their research and do their homework and they understand the history of these sports, they understand what sets culture, what create dynasties. It's players. Why do you think when a coach or a franchise have success with a specific group of players, they go look for likewise players? That's a Ray Lewis type guy right there. Bring him in. That's an Ed Reed type guy right there. Bring him in. You know who told Baltimore? Oh, Terrell Suggs, it's the next big thing. Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. They the ones say, yeah, coach, that's going to be him. He gonna keep that culture going. It ain't say, hey, coach, yo, man, make sure you find. No, coach, he going to keep this culture going. You don't got to believe or just listen to the players. If y'all just go through your homework and look how many different types of styles of coaches we brought in. If you didn't have them guys, you ain't changing nothing in here. Yeah, Trey, you brought up all them names, right? And that's why that defense was good for years to come, regardless of the offense. That team was successful them years that you always said that team will be either they're going to be fighting for the playoffs or they're going to make the playoffs. We didn't have playoff drop with those players on the team. Field general, you helping our argument. Zach Thomas, the field general. Patrick Surtain, Tim Bowen. You know, when we had success against Denver, the Denver Broncos, when they used to run that chop, remember no one could. That's why the Denver Broncos, if y'all go back and do research, right? The Denver Broncos had dudes like Reuben Drones, Mike Anderson, who else is a no? Something Gray. I forgot his last name. I mean his first name, but his name is Gray. They was having 11, 12, 13, 1,400-yard running backs every year. No name guys. That offensive line set the tone. But you know what, Timbo? You know what team they couldn't do that on? The Miami Dolphins. Because you know that dude right there, Tim Bowens? Go ask everybody what the stories were he said when he walked. Not this week. All that chop blocking, that cut blocking, not this week. No one talked to you about no defensive scheme, no plays that coach drew up to help them win. No, they told you, Tim Bowles said, not this week. I'm going to take care of 2 of them. Y'all going to run free. And he made sure if it was Daryl Gardner next to him or Starks next to him, they all going to help do their part. And that running game wasn't going to happen. Now take Tim Boyens out of there and see if that happens. Those dominant players, those are tone and culture setting players. You take them players out, it's just not the same. It isn't. I'm sorry. It's like that. Listen. When you go back and look at, they bought these coaches. This coach was soft. This coach was a tough no coach. This coach was very, very, very successful. But why doesn't no one think? Why doesn't it work? Why haven't it been working? Just go back into your history. We don't got to keep reminding you about the Vic Fangio's leaving here, going to get successful because the players, they were dogs over there. They were. We don't talk about Philly because their coaching staff. We talk about them about how they get these players all the time. Man, how that dude feel to him? Because you identify and recognize what type of dude that is. What type of dude they have on their team. Because that man got it. Howie Roseman, he got it. He understands. I need to get those players. That's what I say. He's going to Georgia. He going to get one of them Georgia Bulldogs. I'm sorry. Change. I can't, and I know we can't have it, but I wish we could change a player here and there and get one of them dogs and just put them on this team and watch it make a world of a difference. Y'all do understand, right? And if you play sports, you'll understand where I'm coming from. When you got a dude in a key position, and I'm not just talking about quarterbacks, right? It could be receiver. It could be like if your running back is your player. If you got a dude that can't seem to get it done when the big boys go to play, you start trusting him. You stop believing him. People got mad when Deshaun Elliott said what he said on that podcast. But listen to what he said when he went to Pittsburgh. I'm just so happy that I'm going into Baltimore and I feel like we actually have a chance to win. Our team isn't soft. He didn't say we had a soft coach. He didn't say I'm glad I'm playing with Mike Tomlin. He said the players he was going to war with wasn't soft. I'm sorry, but these are the players that's on the field. This is the type. I've always been a big defensive guy. I've always been a big defensive guy. Big defense, because I understand what that do to other teams. You think a team, I got a question. Do you think opposing teams fear a high-power offense or a dominating, ferocious defense more? Which one do y'all think the opposing team would rather face? A high-power offense or a dominating, ferocious defense? Do any of y'all step back and think about that? Excuse me. Do we even consider that when we think about how we want our team built? I just want, when you start thinking about them championship teams, right? And then for the most part, right? You got something like the Joe Montana that are real and all that. You get what I'm saying? But them dynasty teams, they be talking about them defenses. They talk about the team. Y'all understand Teddy Bruschi, Ty Law, Lloyd Malloy, what's the other safety? Rodney Harrison, even though he started in San Diego. Y'all do know they made a name for themselves while Tom Brady was on the team. That people feared that defense. Y'all do understand that, right? That defense is what took down the greatest show on turf. Y'all do know that, right? The first play, I think I know I said it, Richard Seymour. Thank you, Trey. I know I said it before. I don't know if I said it on the show. I had to say it on a couple of shows. But the first play, when they caught a pass, I don't know if it was Torrey Holt. I know they had Ricky Proehl, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. One of those players caught a touchdown and got smacked. And he went to the huddle and he said, "Y'all get down. Them boys hitting out there. Do not try to fight for extra yards. This is documented. Go listen to it." That's what a dominant defense did to the greatest show on turf with one hit. Told them boys, don't fight for extra yards. Catch the ball and get down. Don't even try to make a play. Do you know what that means? Do you understand the magnitude of that statement? And how that changed the trajectory of that whole game? Now I'm telling you, you can watch sports for how you want. You can do whatever y'all can fan how y'all want. But as for me, I need me a hard, tough-nosed team. Because you know what else? They say running game travel, toughness travel as well. You take your toughness wherever you go. If you tough down south, you're going to be tough West Coast, Midwest, up north, East Coast. You're going to be tough everywhere. In this country, the next country, toughness travel. Y'all remember? Hey, you know what? What Lou, what was that linebacker coach, man, that he left? We saw him on Hard Knock. It was funny. Man, I love when he made that speech.
Oh, something Campanelli or something.
Campanelli, right? Y'all already said about ass whooping is a universal language. You don't have to understand what no one speaks. You don't have to understand their language. You don't have to understand nothing about them. But no matter where you go, everyone understands what an ass whooping is. No one had to speak to understand what an ass whooping is. No one. Someone getting their ass whooped, we all recognize it. No one had to say anything. Just understand the message behind that. When he was trying to, and you know what? That's another thing for these people that says coaches set the culture. You had that type of guy making speeches. Mike McDaniels knew he couldn't do that, but that guy could. And he could motivate them to be tough. Think about that. You had people out there telling them that kind of speech. That ain't changed them. To Luke statement earlier, that ain't make Jalen Phillips stop being mentally soft. That didn't make Javon Hollis not want to kick rocks. That didn't make Tua not want, oh, you can't talk to me like that. That didn't change no one's character. But you can't tell me that man wasn't soft. I mean, that man wasn't tough. He was soft, and he wasn't trying to set a culture. These are examples of why coaches cannot set your culture, because they don't go on the field. Y'all heard Tua. I mean, not Tua, sorry. Y'all heard Tyreek. Man, I need to practice with Tua more. Huh? What do you mean you need to practice with Tua? You could, hey Tua, come on, let's go get some reps in, bro. Practice, let's go get some reps. Coach like, yeah, I need it. Nah, coach, I need this. I need to handle this. What we talking about? It's crazy to me. That was on national TV. Everyone heard that speech. So that I'm not making that up. That was there. We saw him say that. That didn't change none of these players. Oh. Hey, Lou, you see this question, right? Von Joe got a good question. He said, Tony H. Lewis, have you ever heard Tua's pregame speech on Thanksgiving Day? I don't think I have. Did he make a speech?
Yeah, the one against Green Bay. Yeah, the one against Green Bay. It was terrible.
For real? What did he say?
He didn't say nothing. I mean, that's what he said. He didn't say nothing. Man, the shit was weak, Tom.
Boy, almost. Boy,
I felt like going to sleep when I heard it. It was terrible.
He didn't say nothing?
Guys, let's go get them. 1, 2, 3, go. That's what it said. Like, what are we like? Bro, it was weak.
It was. He said gravy is the gravy. Dry turkey. It was bad. Vonto said bad. Everyone who stepped up and spoke against Tua not here. No. There you go. Weak culture. The weak players. Get them out the locker room. I've heard, right? We heard stories of players telling their coach, nah, bro. No, coach. Let us handle this. Go on. Yo, do y'all know what it's called a players only meeting? I think these players, and they be trying to give y'all hints and understanding, right? Because when it comes all down to it, the players understand it's up to us. At this point, it's not a coaching problem. It's us. We need to fix this. Do y'all ever pay that attention? Every like, boy, they got a players only meeting. You know what this is. This is when the fork meets the road. When you meet the fork in the road. It's either going to go all the way up or it's going to go all the way left. Because at that point, the people that have control over how this season go and how this team move from now on are having a meeting amongst themselves. They are getting rid of, guess what? Every excuse. When you have them players only meetings, all the excuses like, hey, coach, we don't need you in here. Because if we got to fight, we're going to fight. We got to be able to say whatever we want. No filter. Because we are the only one that's going to fix this.
Hey, you know what, Tone? You just made me think of something. Remember when Terrell Owens played in Philadelphia?
Mm-hmm.
You know who the coach there was, right?
Andy Reid.
Andy Reid was there. T.O. Now, multiple players have said there came to a point T.O. went in the locker room, started stealing people. Walking through that bitch, just coming across people's jaw. He had came at like 2 people's jaw. Bang, bang. Right? There was, I forgot, it was a linebacker, I think it was, or something. Said, oh, no. I know if you touch me like that, we throwing these hands.
The buck stops here.
He say, no, I didn't hear nothing about no Andy Reid and none of those situations. I heard Terrell Owens say, oh, really? And them boys went to slugging it out.
Banging.
There was nothing where Andy Reid was creating the culture. Andy Reid wasn't in that locker room. I've heard O.J. McDuffie, a player that was in our locker room. He said they used to bang it out.
You know what happened?
Sometimes when shit hits the road, you go bang it out. I've heard you say the story, Tone, and I'm the same way. One of my closest friends, I've probably fought him about 3-4 times.
I'm telling y'all, my close friends, all my close friends, we all fought. We all fought.
That's a fact.
I'm talking about fisting, not arguments. No, we fought.
No.
And my closest friends, since I was Sandlot, we fought at least 10, 20 times, bro.
I probably fought my close friend probably about 3 to 4 to maybe 5 times.
Bro.
And I'm talking about to your point, Tone, fisticuffs. We throwing them hands. And you know, whether I win or he wins, you know, at the end of the day, I leave there with more respect for him And likewise, he leaves there with more respect for me. And guess what we do? We kicking it 2 hours later. We in the living room, we eating, we chopping it up. It is what it is. And that's what builds camaraderie. That's what builds culture.
Yeah.
When guys say, you know what's going on, the narrative about us, this, that, and the third. To your point, Tone, the buck stops here.
Yes, it does.
Somebody has to put a stop to it. And I'm sorry, it doesn't come from the general manager's chair. It doesn't come from a coach. I thought Tony was, I thought you were spot on when you asked about the linebacker coach. Listen to that linebacker talk, that coach on Hard Knocks. Listen to the way he talks. Now, when have you ever heard one of our players sound like that?
Never. But the coaches set the culture.
But the coaches is the one that's setting the culture.
All right, cool. I'm telling you, it's not gonna work.
Like, what are we talking about?
I'm telling you, it's not gonna work. It isn't. You gotta understand. Some people might not. They might never understand that. I'm like, never understand that.
It just don't make sense, bro. Listen, at the end of the day, until that softness comes up, y'all know what it is. Like, Tone, people say, Lewis, you bring them up all the time because it starts with Tua. It does. It does start with Tua. Because I would just like to ask people, like, let's stay in our division. We got a guy, he comes in here, Michael Kay, Buffalo Bill fan.
What happened? You there?
Excuse me.
Okay.
I was sneezing. I had to put myself on mute. Buffalo Bill fan, right? Sean McDermott. You think Sean McDermott created the culture over there?
No, Sean McDermott, no.
If Josh Allen wasn't in Buffalo, do you think that culture would be as good and what you think it is now?
No, of course not. One like that after Thad Lewis and JP Lossman and
that's what I'm saying. Look, Michael Kay says I'm here. Michael Kay's not even a big Josh Allen fan, right? Michael Kay, I've been on panels with Michael Kay where he's killed Josh Allen for some of his antics. What I'm saying is, though, Josh Allen is the one. Without Josh Allen, right?
Nathan Peterman or whatever.
There is no Buffalo. Let me ask you this, because everybody thinks Sean McDermott is a great coach in Buffalo and got the general manager and they got that. Okay, cool. Put Tua over there in Buffalo. You think that culture? You think that team looks the same? No, man. I'm asking. Do you think the Buffalo Bills look the same with Tua over there?
No.
Again, put Tua over there. Now, Baltimore has Ozzie Newsome. They got a good head coach that creates the culture. Put Tua over there. You think the Ravens look the same with Tua? I'm just asking. Where are the coaches? Because the coach, I'll give you the coach over there. I'll give you John Harbaugh. Put Tua over there. Tell me about that culture.
I'm sorry, bro.
Like, it just don't make sense, bro. Again, it's players. It's not only Tua, but Tua's the main problem. It is. It is what it is. We got to get over this thing. I'm tired. I'm tired of just feeling like this team has no hope. No hope. I'm looking forward to see who the new scapegoat is in 2025. That's what I want. Who's going to be the scapegoat this year? Because they're obviously dealing with these fans, Tone. It's never going to be a player. It's always going to be a coach. It's always going to be this. Let me ask you this, Tone. You remember the Adam Gase days when Adam Gase was here?
Unfortunately, yeah, I remember though. That first year he was good, and now they went down again.
Did Adam Gase create a culture?
No, man. No.
Now, did you ever feel like the team was soft under Adam Gase?
No. It wasn't. I'm sorry.
But so we just established, in your opinion, you don't think Adam Gase created a culture, but you don't think the team was soft. I wonder why.
It was the players. And you remember when? Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
You know who was in that locker room though with Adam Gase?
Who was in there?
Jay Ajayi.
I was just gonna say, go listen to when they mic Jay Ajayi up or they mic the players up, and go listen to Jay Ajayi.
I'll give you another one, Tone. You know who was in that locker room with Adam Gase? A culture creator or culture setter, Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry.
Was Jarvis Landry not a dog?
A dog out of
Now,
man. That
now,
man
do
was
you
a dog.
think Jarvis Landry needed Adam Gase to set the culture in the locker room?
No, they didn't, bro. Go
You
listen
think
to
Jay
them players
Ajayi
talk.
needed Adam Gase to create the culture in the locker room?
No, they didn't. He said, Cam Wake. No, they didn't.
Cam Wake, another one. You think Cam Wake needed Adam Gase to create a culture?
Cam Wake came from the Canadian League. He got it out the mud. Nah. I'm sorry. And just go listen to some of the speeches that they have. Them are the things that I pay attention to when people are like, oh, see, I pay attention to that mentally because I understand what type of player he is and what they could potentially like. Because you don't have to be the most Jay Ajayi, he wasn't the most talented running back. Let's be real. He wasn't the fastest. He was a tough, tough. No, he ran tough, right? He depended on breaking tackles. Case in point, if you go listen to some of his speeches, you remember he was on that run? He was going to tell all his linemen, don't worry, I'm going to break one of those tackles and I'm off to the races. Just keep doing what you're doing. He was saying that. It wasn't the coach saying that. He was like, y'all know I'm going to break one. Y'all understand? Keep on doing it. I'm this close. I think it was 2 drives later, broke one out the back, ran through a tackle, out the back door. That ain't had nothing to do with coaching. That was him putting on for his team, and he like, man, y'all know what I'm about to do. I don't care what coach called. Just block it. And trusting me to make a play. But people, they just they devalue that, how important that is. That is so important when it comes to these sports. Because for the most part, everyone is athletic. I just listened to, you go listen to Kobe Bryant, go listen to Michael Jordan. I just listened to Anthony, that was one he had, it was on, they showed the interview of him and he went to the Olympics, right? And he explained why Steve Kerr was like, you're not working hard enough. He thought he was working his tail off. He said, you ain't working hard enough. And if we had the first pick, we wouldn't pick you. Not because of his talent, because of his work ethic. And he said, what did he say, man? That's when he said, I was on the ride home and I told my trainer, we have to do better. I don't know how, I don't know what we got to do, but we have to do better. All of the great ones, they outwork you. They outtrain you. They have that dog-like mentality to say, I need every edge. From mental to physical training, everything. I'm blessed with the talent. But talent alone do not win ball games. It's your preparation. It's your mentality. It's your mindset. What are you willing to put in? Until we get those type of players in this locker room, I'm telling you, we can have our hopes up all you want. Because when talent meets talent, will is what gets you over the hump. You will not out-will me. You will not out-grit me. You will not out-tough me. You will not break me. I'm sorry. That's mindset. I'm like, once I understand that, I'm telling you, it's going to be an ongoing cycle. It's going to be an ongoing cycle. I'm still pissed about no AVG. Man, AV, you know what AVG would have been? I'm so glad that AVG going and had success over there because he would have been, it tell you, I mean, it would have been if they going to start bringing players in like that. That man was a tough nut, keep his head down, work hard. Every time he got his opportunity, he made the best out of it. That shows you that will outdo skill. What was AVG drafted? Do we remember?
Fifth round, I believe.
5th round draft pick. Outworking people, though. Took advantage of his opportunities. Wasn't the most skillful player, but look what he's doing now. Exactly, Trey. Opportunity meets preparation. I was told, I was reading a book. I don't remember what book it was. and it said, there's no such thing as luck. Luck is only being prepared when your opportunity comes. That's what I was told. Oh, I just lucked up to meet this person. But if you weren't prepared for whatever he needed from you or that person needed from you, it don't matter if you're in the right position. It don't matter if you're in the right place. You know how people say, I was in the right place at the right time. But what if you wasn't prepared? You could have been there all you want and failed. There's also, for every time somebody say, man, I was so lucky. I was in the right place at the wrong time. There's a lot of stories like, man, I messed up that opportunity. I had a golden opportunity handed to me and I dropped the ball. Would you not say he was lucky for being in the right place at the right time? Yeah, he was. They was in the right place at the right time. They just weren't prepared. Think about that. If AVG wasn't prepared for all them times he got his opportunities, he would just been another 5th round player. Or, well, you know, he a special team. No, that man made the best of every opportunity he had. Tom Brady, 6th round pick, made the best of that opportunity he had. He was prepared. Sorry. Look at Brock Purdy. Prepared. Were they lucky or were they prepared? Now, yeah, they got it'd be like, oh man, if they didn't get injured, he would have never got the opportunity. If he wasn't prepared, he would have never took advantage of it. It would have been another, oh, that's what do you know what we say about our backup quarterback, what you expect for them. They not fit for this offense. They're not Tua. They skill set. Excuses. But they got opportunities like every other backup quarterback got and just didn't take advantage of it. Sorry. Not sorry. It's time for us to stop making excuses and understanding what's really going on. Go ahead, Lou. I see you.
No. Again, Tony, at some point, again, we gotta do this because this is what we do. We create content. But at some point, these people are they're not going to get it, bro. They don't understand what we're trying to say. They don't want to listen. They push back on it. Again, bro, I'm just tired of the whole thing. It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. I'm done trying to convince people or trying to give people logic and stuff. Like, it just don't make sense. Either people are going to believe it and they don't. And for the most part, people don't want to believe it. So, it is what it is, man.
Okay, for sure. All right, man. We got 31 of y'all in here. 22 likes. Y'all, if you one of the 8 people that didn't like, hit that like button. Right before we got here, I got the poll in the chat. Question was, what do opposing teams fear more? High power offense or dominant defense? We got 21 votes. 90% dominant defense. So y'all might be more smarter than what y'all acting or what y'all leading on.
Even the sun shines on a dog's ass from time to time.
They got it right, Lou.
They'll be wrong on Friday. Don't worry. They'll come back. They'll be wrong on Friday.
They got it right. I just want y'all need, that's a good, I'm telling you, I be dropping gems on y'all. Y'all don't be paying attention, right? Think about that when y'all think about what would you fear more? What type of team would you want going into these opposing team stadiums? Would you want a high power offense or you want a nasty tenacious defense? Because even Tom Brady came out, he's like, man, I used to hate seeing them Dolphins, man. That defense, he's always, we beat him the most. He always said, man, I hated going in there to face them. I'm telling you. That's what it is. But listen, we appreciate y'all. Listen, if y'all haven't hit the subscription button, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Help the boys grow. Road to 600 on the one. We are 515. So y'all help us get to that 600. We 85 away. If you haven't hit the like button, make sure. Yes, Twitter after party. We will be going live after this on Twitter. Y'all can ask some questions. I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. Trey, don't come in there and try to change the whole conversation of basketball. I let you derail it last time. We don't want to hear that today. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear it today. But yeah, I want to hear what y'all got to say, some of y'all, because I see a couple comments. If y'all don't know, we will be going live on the Bliss Pickup X page. So y'all coming up, join us to the spaces. We give y'all opportunity to talk, and if y'all got questions or any comments or how y'all felt about the show, y'all
real quick, Tom.
Go ahead.
My man, Mr. Park said that's why he's here, to continue collecting gems. Hey, man, he's listening to you, Tom.
He appreciate you. But yeah, man, listen, again, we 85 away from that 600 mark. Please make sure y'all help share the channel, get the word out. Get us up to the 600, but we really appreciate y'all. See, there you go. You already started.
I approve this message, by the way. Finally, me and Crypto see eye to eye. I approve this message. The Celtics are trash.
But yeah, Roll fans, I got you. Make sure you I can't wait to see you with the put the picture up of your jersey. Triple S, I saw you DM me, so don't worry. That hat is on the way, my brother. Make sure I grab that. And listen, y'all get us. Listen, y'all want us to do some more giveaways. We will be doing it at 1,000. I don't know. It just depends on how I feel, man. I might want to do one at 750. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? 750. I might be in a giving mood. I don't know how it be. But yeah, again, make sure y'all share, like, subscribe, and appreciate y'all for rocking with us. We will see y'all Friday, 7:30-ish. Appreciate y'all. Lewis, you want to get us up out of here?
I'll end it with this. Peace out.
See y'all on X, man.